here at AirVenture Oshkosh down in the ultralight area, a place that has more charm than the whole rest of the field put together, in my humble opinion. Ron Jones, I'm Dan Johnson. Tell me a little bit about this airplane.
Well, this is the SNS8 Hyperlight, just like the Sorrells designed it in 1982. The difference on this one is it's got a derivative of the half VW engine. And this
Can
one,
I tilt the prop here a little bit?
yeah, the plugs are,
All right.
plug wires are off.
Good. Okay, so we can see it a little better.
And this one, they only made a handful of them back in the mid 90s, but it puts out an honest 47 horsepower.
47. Really?
47.
And four-stroke.
Four stroke. Uh, burns about 1.5 gallons an hour. It's hard to beat it for economy.
Yeah. Well, and the engines are not particularly expensive to buy either, right?
They're not. They're well reasonable. You can get them for under $4,000.
$4,000 for an aircraft, a four-stroke.
For a four-stroke.
47 horsepower.
47 horsepower.
Those are some good numbers.
Yeah, and it'll pull this thing along at 85 miles an hour without breaking a sweat. The only drawback is it's a little too heavy to meet Part 103.
Okay, so this is experimental Amateurbuilt for this one. And you had the credential from FAA, so that's all good and proper?
Correct.
Okay, great. Tell me about then, as long as it's experimental Amateurbuilt, the builder's got to build it. What's he doing?
Basically, all he's doing is a lot of assembly, a lot of riveting. We do all the welding for him, all the machining.
Okay.
And it's available in either full kit, engine, fabric, everything, or we've got 5 sub-kits.
Okay, so you could start with just one part of it, kind of a finance program there for
Right, you could start with the tail group and then go onto the wings and spiral forward and so on.
and just pay as you go kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. How do you support people that do that?
We've got full complement of parts in stock. Every now and then somebody will ask for something that we don't have, and it might take a week or two to get them replacement parts. But normally we're either on the phone or we're available online for replacement, for factory support, technical help.
Okay. And build time for if on this particular one with this engine, so he does have to build it. What are we talking about? What's the work effort?
With this one, with this engine, we've got the stitch covering on this, so a guy with average fabric skills, you could build one in between 350 and 400 hours.
Okay, still not too bad. So you got one that has some different covering to it. Is that right?
We've just covered one with Ortex. First intense atom. It's real easy to work with. The stuff comes pre-colored. It's super easy to apply. Basically, it's a 2-step process. You got contact cement. You paint your airframe. You paint your fabric. Let it dry. Come back the next day. Lay your fabric on.
So it's not like a big rush to get it done in a certain small time period. In fact, you do want to wait a little bit. Is that it?
Right.
All right. That's kind of cool.
And you just activate the glue with a hot iron. And from there,
that's how it works, huh?
It's
Okay.
traditional covering methods, heat shrinking, getting wrinkles out, taping, and that kind of thing.
Sounds like a lot easier than the more conventional process.
It is. It probably take you half the time as the traditional stitch.
And you don't have to paint it.
Right. It comes pre-colored red, blue, yellow, white, silver, and black.
And can you mix those things up as you do it? Okay, so you can make patterns on it?
Right, you can get creative with it.
Well, I would think a lot of people would go for that, except for the ones that are really into the conventional style of doing it.
It's a little pricier than the stitch.
Well, of course, you're having to do less, so it would be more expensive.
But at the end of the day, it's pretty much a wash.
Well, painting is kind of a challenge for a lot of people. It's a sort of art.
Yes.
Some people take it to somebody else to do it. Well, then you got to pay them. And if you're doing it yourself, you got to have a place and some equipment so you don't endanger yourself. And it's kind of a big deal.
A plane like this, it's real easy to hand weight. People like this.
Sure.
Paint purposely keeps spraying. It's nice and lightweight. And with the Zanzibar engine, it's our standard one for the ultralight. The Vortex will keep it illegal Part 103 ultralight.
Okay. Ron, this looks like a little different project, and you're holding some parts in your hand. Tell me about the project, and then tell me why those parts are in your hand.
Well, this is the two-place version of the Hyperlight, the SNS9. Basically the same airplane, just two-place side-by-side.
And it's side-by-side, yeah. So.
And what makes this one unique is over the years we've had requests for wood wing or people working with wood.
Why do they want that?
Either they're not comfortable with aluminum or they're not equipped for it. A lot of guys have wood shops at home. So we
wood's a familiar stuff for them to work with.
They're
Okay.
comfortable with it, right?
Okay.
So we designed a wood wing, same airfoil, same flight characteristics. All the parts are laser cut and conventional covering. This is covered with sticks, but it's everything is pre-cut, snapped together.
Wow, that's got to make it a lot easier now.
Much.
You know, this wood isn't hard to cut, but it's laborious to do this accurately with conventional equipment.
It's kind of labor intensive,
Yeah.
but a lot of guys are familiar with woodworking and they're comfortable with it. And the big difference is these wings are about 6 or 7 pounds heavier than the standard metal wings.
Okay, well, it's a two-place anyway, so this is obviously experimental Amateurbuilt. Okay, we always shy away from price a little bit because these videos last a long time, but get us into ballpark about both aircraft that we've looked at here.
Well, base price on the single place is $19.90.
Okay.
That's with the Zanzatera MZ.
Okay, that's with engine then, all right.
Engine, fabric, basic flight instruments, everything you need to fly except paint and gasoline.
And if you did the Oratex?
If you do the Oratex, it's going to be about $22,000 to $23,000. It's a little pricier,
It's
but
really not much more considering then you don't have to paint.
correct.
Which might add a good piece of that to the other price you just mentioned.
Right.
Okay, and what are you expecting for this? I know you're not quite ready for this yet, so just, we're just wild guessing here a little bit, but
The standard kit with the aluminum wings and the 582 Rotax goes for $32,000.
32,000. Okay, but again, with engine, two-place
Engine,
aircraft.
Again, yeah, everything ready to fly, or everything you need to build a flyable aircraft except paint.
And these aircraft have some history. This is not some fresh
This
out of the
is-
box design.
Right, this is actually a 35-year-old design. The SNS8 made its debut here at Oshkosh in 1982.
1982, the same year Part 103 came out.
Right, and
A
it was
couple of months
the,
after that,
It
actually.
was the second certified, if you will, Part 103 ultralight that FAA recognized.
Yeah, that's the exact term there. They recognize it. They didn't
Right,
certify
they
it.
didn't certify
It's
it.
a little different game that way, but that's cool. Ron, where are you located? And then we'll ask you for a web address after that, but tell us where you are, how long you've been doing it first.
Well, I'm in Southeast Michigan.
Okay.
And I acquired the company, the tooling and manufacturing rights in early 2002.
Okay, so you've been at it now a few years. So.
Years, yeah.
And how's it been going?
It's been going real well. The name's getting back out there. People are more familiar with it. We're making sure the factory support is there because your reputation is everything.
Sure, right. Well, good for you for doing that. Okay, so Ron, you gave us a lot of great information. That's wonderful. I love those price points. They're right down there where a lot of people can afford one or the other of these airplanes, maybe both in some cases.
There you go.
Where do we find you on the web?
My web address is www.hyperlightaircraft.com.
Okay, that's pretty simple.
And our phone number at the shop is area code 586-212-5862.
All right. Well, real good. You can find lots more about all kinds of affordable aviation on bydanjohnson.com. Thanks for joining Ron Jones and I here in the ultralight area of AirVenture Oshkosh.